The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. I apologize for the late start, but we had some business to take care of before we got started. Mainly AJ being late. Yes. As usual. Anyway, guys, welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys listening. This week, we're going to get into some week one reactions and overreactions, I suppose. And then we're going to get into obviously some injury news and then finish up with some DFS picks for us this week. Right now, we've got the G-Men over the Washington football team 10-7. We'll get into this later, man. I don't really know. Heineke's really not getting it done. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Keith, who is not our producer this week. We got the guy replacing the shortcomer, Keith. Just kidding. The guy filling in for Jeff for a week. Mike is filling in. We made fun of Keith hardcore last week about the G-Men, and it's fine. Anyway, before we get rolling here, though, I want to remind everybody and ask you guys politely to subscribe and follow and put in those reviews on YouTube, Periscope, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen. We and watch. We appreciate all your support, and we appreciate those follows and subscribes as well. So this week we do not have a guest, AJ. So it's just you and me. That's usually trouble.
That's bad.
We usually tone it down when we have a guest, so that's gonna be bad. But anyway, let's jump right into things. What do you think? And do our beer of the week.
Beer.
All right, I picked up some new stuff because as I sent you the picture before last Sunday's game, my fridge was empty. It's a funny looking can. It's like a devil's, like a alien face or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird looking, but it's Commonwealth Syndicate. It's a double dry hop, double IPA though. It's good, man. It's got Cryo Mosaic, Styrian Cardinal hops, which I've never heard of in my life, and Grungiest. Another one I've never heard of, but it was solid, man. I do like it. I gave it a 4 1/4. It is 8.7, so I like this one, man. What do you got?
All right, well, Grungiest will be a good segue as well. But I am finally cracking open my crowler here that my beautiful wife Heather got for me.
Some crabs on there? Or is that a spider?
It is a crab with a screwdriver and a hammer. I guess he's saying, screw you, you're not going to hit me with your mallet. It's from Elk River Brewing Company, a local brewery up here in the Cecil County. And it is called Done Right IPA. It's hoppy aroma and bitterness that IPA lovers look for. It's hopped with heavy doses of Columbus, Summit, Cascade, and Centennial hops, and then dry hopped with Citra and Amarillo.
Jeez, that's a lot, man.
It's pretty effing good.
I bet.
I would drink it right out of the crowd. Oh God.
Oh, there it goes.
Yep, that's happening. I do have a glass though, so
it's all good, man. I have no shame drinking right out of the crowler. Why not? Do it.
No. There's never any need for any shame. So, speaking of done right, I felt like this was quite a fitting title of a beer because there's plenty of things in your life that you need to have done right, and one of them is shaving your particulars. If you don't have that done right, it's going to be a bad day. You're going to have a bad time, and so might your lady friend, or male friend, whoever. We're a friendly show. Anyway, so tonight's Fantasy Six Pack Hour broadcast is brought to you by the support of Manscaped. We have a new trial run with the company, and we are lucky enough to be trying out their Lawnmower 4.0. That's right. You heard that correctly. They have upped their game yet again and come out with the Lawnmower 4.0. So along with us, you should be joining over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. We have an exclusive offer because of this. Nice little perk that we're getting from them with some of our free swag along with this shirt. You obviously get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, and I'll go into that in a minute. But we have a code. We have a code for you guys to use, F6P20. That is the letter F, the number 6, the letter P, and the numbers 20. With this code, you are going to get 20% off of your purchase and free shipping. Again, the code, as you can see, F6P20 at manscaped.com. Know it, use it, love it like we do. Now, let me get into this thing. So, the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. Obviously, it's a great name because, you know, if you're into 70s movies, we'll say, there's a lot of hair going on down there. So hopefully things have changed a little bit since then. But some people may still be into that. Not sure, but if you are, this new 4.0 product comes with multiple attachments for up to 4 different levels of trimming action on your downstairs area. So that is awesome because, you know, you can't just go straight into it and just cut everything right off. You're going to have a bad time with that too. Maybe not necessarily with this.
That would not be great.
Precision engineered.
Highly suggest use the guards, guys.
But yes, just for the sake of safety, I would go with the adapters to start, and then work your way down. You know, guard lengths 1 to 4, starting at 4. So the next really sweet thing with this is that you've got a little light source coming in, because, you know, if you got a bush full of hair down there, you're going to need some light to see your way through digging it out. And they've come up with that. They've got the light on here. It is phenomenal. And it's also nice for somewhat dark bathrooms. Maybe you need to change the bulbs in your bathroom. Maybe you have a separate toilet area from the rest of your bathroom. I don't know. I haven't been to your house, so I'm not sure. There is plenty of other things that come with this set. There's a wireless charging system. Okay, that is the rage for cell phones. Well, guess what? Now it's the rage for your ball trimmer. All right, so that's sweet. You get a nice toiletries bag to
that thing's sweet, man. It's all leather, dude.
Your swag.
That thing's pretty nice.
Very nice. Very high quality leather. And I think almost my favorite thing here is the newspaper itself. No, this is not for you to read while you're dropping a deuce, although you probably could.
There's some good reading material on there. I'm not going to lie, man. I got a good laugh out of some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely nice here. The Manscaped Daily News. We save balls. So that they do. But the point of the newspaper is merely to just spread around on your floor so it catches all your little trimmings. That way your wife can't deal with that, and you know, you don't have to listen to that. So again, plenty of good stuff here. Just wanted to open the doors here, but we'll be talking more about this stuff over the next couple weeks as well, and some of the other products that we got through this ad campaign. So again, the code is F6P20 at manscaped.com. 20% off of all your purchases and free shipping. Go out, get this thing. It is awesome, and your balls will thank you.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Definitely also recommend the product big time. AJ talked way more than I thought he would, but
That's what I do.
definitely worth it. The promo code's in the ticker. It'll be in the comments of everything that we're posting. So, go ahead and click on those links and go ahead and buy the products. It's definitely worth it. So, anyway, let's move on, shall we? Into some week 1 reactions and overreactions, possibly. First off, all right, AJ, we got some shocking news on Sunday morning. 2 inactives, Zach Moss and Trey Sermon. I mean, who was the bigger surprise there and why for you?
I mean, I guess for me, I would say Sermon because I left him in my lineup and lost my matchup.
That would do it.
That's what I get. But I think it's got to be Zach Moss. This was mostly his backfield coming into the preseason, from at least what I felt and, what a lot of other fantasy experts and analysts were looking at. It didn't really turn out that way, though. And the fact that he's a healthy scratch in week 1 kind of even gives a bigger vote of confidence to his running mate in Singletary.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this. It's worrisome because this is a high-powered offense, obviously a pass-first offense.
Yes.
But, Moss kind of came into his own a little bit more towards the end of last season, like a lot of the rookies did. So I think that was a bigger kick.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised at that one. More so than Sermon, although they were both like really up there because everybody was like high up on Sermon, possibly taking over from Mostert. And of course, granted, we're a lot of people were putting Sermon ahead of Mostert in rankings for the start of the season because you expect Mostert to get hurt, which, guess what happened? We'll get into that a little later. But, Zach Moss was getting a lot of hype in camp. Like, he was the better back. Like, he was, he was getting more reps. And then, boom, Singletary gets a start and, like, goes off for 70-something yards. It was like, what the hell? So I don't really know what to expect with Moss at this point. I think I'm still holding him, honestly. Unless you're in a shallow league and there's obviously somebody better out there. Who just scored? J.D. McKissick just scored for Washington. So Washington's about to go up 14-10. It's like what his first
Richard
pass of the season. Anyway. Trey Sermon, obviously, we'll get into this a little later, but Trey Sermon, I think, is going to have a much larger role going on forward. But again, it's San Fran, so who the hell knows what's going to happen there with the 49ers backfield. I know everybody really wants to jump on the Elijah Mitchell train, and for good reason. He dominated, but this backfield seems to rotate every single week. They've still got James Hasty. They're going to get Wilson back in a few weeks once he comes off the IR. And Sermon will be in the mix eventually. So who knows what's going to happen there. I saw people blowing like 90%, if not more, of their fab on Mitchell this weekend. And this week. And I was like, no, you have fun with that one. Like, that seems very unlikely to hit for that amount of value. I put in like 35%, and even I was like nervous about spending that much on him because it's the 49ers. And, our good friend Jeff Lambert, who's in our Crab Cake League and does the Last Call podcast with me, he came on. It was, it's always his kind of shtick. It's like, and I don't even know if it's a shtick. It's like, it's for real. It happens every year, it feels like now. Go after the lowest paid, the lowest valued player. And this year it was Mitchell. And I said it. And our producer tonight, Mike LaPlante, and Dylan and I did a show on Sunday morning, start sit stuff and, going over injuries and things like that. And as soon as Sermon got called out, everybody was like, oh, well, it's got to be Mostert. And I was like, yeah, you watch. Mostert's going to get hurt, and that's going to be Elijah Mitchell. And we all laughed, but like that it happened. It was just like, oh, Jesus. Okay, whatever.
podcast commentary.
It was so funny, man. It was like, holy crap, did that really happen? Anyway, the other note I have here, which is not an active, but it's Brandon Ayuk. Kind of a weird situation. Like, nothing really was being said about him before the game started. He only played 26 snaps, 0 targets. I mean, destroyed people who played him. Right after the game, there were reports saying that, he's still learning to be a pro. And so that was like red alert right away. And then now it's starting, more recent. Shanahan might be like going like, guys, we can't say that, but even if it might be true, but maybe Shanahan's coming back or maybe he's telling the truth. Who knows? Saying that, it was just due to a hamstring injury. And so he's just kind of like working his way back. And so he was more of a decoy. I don't know. What do you think with Ayuk?
I mean, are we still talking about the 49ers here? Jesus.
Yes, we are. Because they're going to... The offense is legit, bro.
It is.
Debo, by the way, 189 yards.
Debo had a huge game. I find this a little interesting and surprising about this. He still needs to learn how to be a pro.
I'm not sure what to read into that one, honestly.
He came out and carried this team last year, from the receiving side, and I felt like he was pretty pro-like doing that. And because of all the injuries and everything he had to face, I don't know what more you need to do to learn how to be a pro than do that. But I'm guessing that this is maybe some character stuff, some immaturity, that sort of realm of issues, I guess. I don't even know what else to call it. But if it's now coming out that he's got hamstring injury, then that makes a little more sense.
That does. It totally does.
I don't know why you would just throw the guy under the bus completely and make it sound like some sort of, personal character thing, and then be like, oh yeah, no, never mind. He's fine. His character's great, but his hammy's injured.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one, but it's still just a lot of back and forth there. So I just thought it was something to mention.
Yeah.
Next one, man. Aaron Rodgers. Ooh. This. I got decimated in our fantasy six-pack league because guess who's my starting quarterback? Aaron Rodgers. Oh, and guess who my running back is? Aaron Jones. Yeah. So they got me nothing, like 4.5 points total between the two of them, and I lost like 70 to 120. I mean, I don't know if it would have mattered, but like you expect a big game out of Rodgers and a big game out of Jones. Like you expect like at least 40 points out of the two of them. It should have been at least close. I got blown out. Yeah.
Especially
biggest blowout of his career, 15 for 28, 133 yards and 2 interceptions, and he got benched for Love. So, yikes. I mean, New Orleans just put it to him.
Love and my Scott Fish.
Don't know, man.
I don't know.
I mean, so all right. So there's a lot of reaction to this on Twitter and a lot of commentary. Is this something that like you're? Yeah, there's a lot of people that are going like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if like he came back to stick it to the Packers and he's just doing this on purpose? Like, is there any thought through your mind that that's actually happening, or is this just like this was just a bad game?
There was. I mean, that was a very fleeting thought for me, but it was more. All right, the off season was just such a shit show with this whole Rodgers, Green Bay, marriage, separation, divorce, remarriage, renewal of vows, separation again, whatever. But he came back. Everybody got back on board with it. Sounded like he wanted to put all the shit to bed because he got his way. Kind of had a bit of a tantrum, if you will. But, I mean, deservedly so. The guy's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's played his ass off for this team, and they've just kind of crapped on him in return, more times than not, put it that way. So yeah, it doesn't, I don't want to say it surprises me to see this, poor performance. I didn't expect it. But it's not a surprise because I can see that side of it where he's just going to be like, whatever. And that's kind of what he was in the post game.
Yeah,
he's out there spelling, Frankie says relax again, and it's like, dude, there's 16 more games, and he's right. There's 16 more games. You know what? They could go 16-1. And no one's going to even give a shit.
No, they wouldn't.
Week 1.
Yeah, this isn't something I'm super worried about. I mean, and again, I think, they're gonna get Detroit this. I think it's Monday, right?
Yeah.
This should be an absolute, like, Rodgers is gonna come back and just be like, oh wait, not only is it I need to bounce back, it's a division game. Yeah, this is gonna get nasty, guys. Sorry, I'm gonna score 6 touchdowns to make up for last week, and I hope he does. Anyway. Moving on here to the other side of that game, Jameis Winston. Who's this guy that showed up for this game in 5 touchdowns and only 20 attempts? What? This guy usually throws an extra 20 passes and throws for an extra 5 interceptions at the same time. I mean, is this not that I think we're going to get this efficient of a Jameis Winston all year long? That would be insane. However, is this a different Jameis Winston under Peyton? Peyton as in the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say so because he didn't throw 5 interceptions with his 5 touchdowns. I don't know though. It's very hard to know what to make of this one in my mind. I think that it's a great showing, but the Packers, as we said, looked like
rolled over
doggy doo-doo. And if you have a guy that's out there throwing a touchdown every 4 pass attempts, that's hard to beat, man.
That was crazy.
I don't care who you are.
It was like 170 yards at best. I forget. I didn't write down the yards for some reason, but it wasn't much, man. It was just it's super crazy efficient. Hard to match that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again, it's 1 week. I need to see more out of him to be able to say that he's definitely different. It was a great first impression, if you will. And it makes Taysom Hill looks like just a tight end again.
Although, hey, I'll say this though: everybody who blew their load on Marquez Callaway, yikes, did literally nothing. I mean, I get there weren't a lot of pass attempts, but he didn't get one of the 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
The fact that Juwan Johnson, my $12 spend, did
caught 2 touchdowns.
I mean, that was pretty sweet. I don't think I played him. But,
yeah. Who would? Dude, nobody would have.
They really did. It's like, all right, well,
yeah, not very many did.
So, excuse me. All right. Well, let's flip the script here a bit, take over some of these questions for you, and we'll talk about another NFC South team, and that is the Falcons. Now, this was the offense without Julio down by the schoolyard Jones. All right. I mean, Ryan was 21 of 35. Probably have seen that before for 164 yards. I think we've seen that before too. Sacked 3 times. Mike Davis was ineffective. Ridley couldn't do much. I mean, there's just there was nothing there. I mean,
yeah.
And the Eagles, wow. I mean, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Surprised the hell out of me and the entire city. I feel like But I'm glad they won. Obviously, it was not a good game for Atlanta. I mean, what do you make of this? What do you think is the deal? Is this because Julio's not there, or was it just the Eagles were the better team?
A little bit of both. I think, honestly, I think the Eagles were the better team. I did pick them to win. I
mean, but
I still think honestly, like, I don't know if this was as much on Matt Ryan and without Julio, because we've seen them perform well without, but like,
they have, yeah.
Whatever happened with that front line of Atlanta was atrocious. Matt Ryan, every time that red zone or, the game I had on the side would tick over to the Atlanta game, Matt Ryan was just running for his life. And he couldn't get, it was like, hike, oh crap, and he just run. He can't run, so it's just like, okay, that's not his game.
I mean, he was.
So it's tough, man. I think he's gonna have much better days, but this is a worry. I'm not gonna lie, this is a worry for me. And I hope there's better days to come. There will be. This won't be the worst ever. But it's that is definitely a worry moving forward for me. It's the Falcons offense, and maybe we shouldn't have put Calvin Ridley as high as we did, and maybe Pitts won't be as good as we all thought. So like, he got a lot of targets, and that's awesome. But like, if Matt Ryan can't accurately throw the ball to him because he's running and trying to throw at the same time, which he's not super awesome at, yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So Kyle Pitts had twice as many targets as last year's Tony Gonzalez, Hayden Hurst, but Hayden Hurst caught all 4 of his targets, and Kyle Pitts caught 4 of his 8 targets, and they were basically the same yardage: 31 for Pitts, 28 for Hurst. I mean, it's not
some of those passes, man. I saw some of them like they weren't catchable.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't his fault.
It wasn't all on Pitts, but it's just. I mean, if he's
it's troubling. It's troubling to watch. So hopefully it'll work itself out. But I'm not super high on this offense. Going, not as high on this offense as I was. Yeah. But because I guess the one thing you hoped was like they would be in shootouts, which they were. But like either the Eagles' defense is way better than we've thought it was gonna be. So maybe there's something to that. Like that, look, that happens year in and year out. We have defenses that just rise to the top. That but like I did not expect the Eagles to be one of them, or the Falcons' offensive line is just going to be that bad to where Ryan's going to be under fire every single snap, and he's just going to be awful, and there's nothing he can do about it. Yeah. So time will tell, but I think there are better days ahead. But I'm still worried.
When you're in a game where JJ Arcega-Whiteside gets a tackle, then apparently their defense and special teams is doing something right. So keep it up. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
but
of course you are.
Let's keep moving here with the team that has Julio now, and that is the Titans offense. They really didn't do jack squat with Julio, so I don't know what was going on. I mean, this is not an efficient offense in week 1. It's not what we're used to seeing with them over the past couple years, really. Tannehill, 21 of 25 for 212, a touchdown and an interception, sacked 6 times. I'm surprised he doesn't have an ACL tear just from being knocked on his ass so many times. Derrick Henry didn't get anything going on the ground, 17 for 58. Julio caught 3 of his targets. He dropped a touchdown. I mean, probably because he didn't realize that he was going to get a ball in the red zone.
Yeah, so I said the same thing would happen. Apparently, like the announcers were like, "Oh, it like surprised him." Like,
yeah, no shit.
I guess that would be surprising, but yeah, he dropped some passes, but this was another surprising game. Like this was another.
did drop that one against the Eagles in the playoff.
Look, this was another big, like, huge surprising game. Like, nobody doubted the Arizona offense, right? So, sorry. Are we surprised that Arizona put up 38? That might be a little high, higher than what we expected. But
against the Titans,
yeah, the Titans have a solid D. So yeah, 38 might be a little high, but we expected points. But we expected way more points on Tennessee side. But they just couldn't get it going. Their front line was pressuring Tannehill and like just stuffing Henry. He had a long of 19. Other than that, like, he did nothing. So they were pressuring Tannehill all day, and so that efficiency that Tannehill gets off the running game wasn't there. And so that's why we see 21 for 35. Only 212. We saw a touchdown. We saw an interception. And the touchdown came late to A.J. Brown, I believe. So, yeah, it's just one of those, like, I'm just going to chalk it up to a bad game. They're going to figure this out. They're not going to play, they're going to get their offensive line figured out. So I'm not overly concerned with the Titans. A lot less so than I am Atlanta.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was a week full of just upsets, like games that you didn't
dude, it was, and that's what happens.
They did. The Steelers blowing out the Bills. Well, not really blowing them out, but beating them on the road.
Yeah.
The Vikings being down that entire game for the most part until the very end to the Bengals. We talked about the Bengals offense being pretty high powered with some of who they had, but that one was surprising. Another one here, the Lions backfield. That was basically a split, but both played pretty well.
And against San Fran of all teams, who people thought had a good D, and maybe not. Well, it was all garbage time, to be honest, but yeah, it was interesting.
That was the highest scoring.
I'll say this: this was another like interesting one, and I didn't put it on the earlier notes as one of those like interesting notes, with Ayuk. But like right before the games came out, or right before the game started, a note came out that said Swift isn't going to start, and he won't. Jamal Williams is going to get the bulk of the carries and the bulk of the work. Well, it turns out they basically went 50-50. I think Williams got
9 carries to 11.
9 carries to 11, and then they both caught 8. Sorry, they both caught 8, but Swift got 11 to 9 again. So it's like, I don't know the snap count split. I don't have that in front of me, but so it's very even, and if anything, the workload favors Swift as far as like targets and touches. The thing here is like I don't know how much of this is sustainable. Like, so Williams got the rushing touchdown, Swift got the receiving touchdown. Let me tell you, by the way, the thing that really scares me about this entire Detroit offense is that it was all garbage time. You know who the leading receivers for Detroit were? Yeah, T.J. Hawkinson, not a surprise. After that, Swift and Williams with 8 targets each, by the way, or receptions each, tying Hawkinson. But that also, they were the second highest in targets. After that, it was Khalif Raymond, Amon-Ra St. Brown, someone named Benson, Tyrell Williams, Cephas, Fells. I don't even know who the last guy is. He got 1 target and didn't catch it, so it doesn't matter.
No.
But yeah, by the way, the receivers are non-existent. Teams are going to just go, okay, fine, we got you. We're gonna let those guys go. We're gonna target all these guys. That's gonna get ended real quick. And Detroit's not gonna be up in many games, so the rushing stats just aren't gonna be there for any of these guys. They're gonna have to rely on all these receptions, and I don't know if you're gonna get this many receptions out of these guys each week. It's a tough backfield if they're gonna split 50-50. It's why in best ball, honestly, I did not target Swift in any leagues, and then I didn't get him in any redraft leagues either. I actually targeted Jamal Williams because he was going like 5 rounds later than Swift, if not longer, farther than that in most. So I was just like, if I'm going to take a chance on somebody, I'm taking a chance on Williams. The coaching staff came out many times saying they like this guy as like a 1A, 1B. So why not? Why am I taking Swift up here, even though I think he's the superior talent? The coaching staff clearly isn't going to use him that way. As we saw it week 1, and boom, it's just super hard to trust. Like, good luck in redraft leagues figuring out who to start here with these guys. Yeah. They're all going to be flux guys at best, in my opinion. Yeah.
So getting back into that Minnesota game, we've got KJ Osborne, 9 times, 9 targets.
Yeah, dude.
That's a lot. That's a hefty target load, and I guess we figured out who the receiver 3 is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty easy there. I think it's easily Osborne at this point. The only thing I'll say about this, and we can just move on to the next one, is I don't think you can really trust a wide receiver 3 in the Minnesota offense to really perform this way. Minnesota got down pretty early. I don't know. Actually, no. Now I'm looking at it, they weren't down. It was pretty close game. Sorry, I apologize for that.
Down.
I mean, they were down, but it wasn't like
they were chipping away at it.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where just like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think you can trust. Like, it's good. This offense is going to go through Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook 9 times out of 10. Osborne is going to be an afterthought in most weeks. Look, a flyer pick, sure. If you got somebody who got hurt, I picked him up in our league, in our fantasy 6-pack league, just because I had 2 open roster spots and he was sitting there, and I went, okay, fine, click. Like, who knows? Like, if Thielen or Jefferson go down, gold, right? So I'll take a chance. Like, take a stab at somebody like that. If you got a deep roster spot and you got some junk to get rid of. But it's one of those things where like Cousins isn't going to do this every week. He 351 and 2 touchdowns. This is a running team. Although maybe the defense isn't what we thought it was, and maybe they're going to be more shootouts than we thought. So who knows? It's still week 1. There's a lot of unknowns. Like look, if this was week 9 and this happened, and like you had 8 weeks in a row where he was nothing, we would be going like, we wouldn't even talk about this. But week 1, it gets like magnified. And that's where the overreaction, which is why we call this the overreaction segment for week 1, comes into play. Because people are going like, oh, should I drop so-and-so for KJ Osborne?
Totally.
No. Like,
if you're in my league, yeah.
Please stop. KJ Osborne is not going to be a thing every week. Like, this isn't just, it's an outlier, guys. It just happened to happen week 1. And so his stats get magnified, and so do the stats of your dud of like Cortland Sutton, right? Who did nothing, which is unfortunate. So, look, you drafted Cortland Sutton to be a guy. Stick with him. He's going to be a guy, I promise you. KJ Osborne is not going to be in most likely. Like, look, I'll be wrong here and there, but I don't think he's going to be. So.
Yeah, I mean, Thielen still led with 10 targets. Jefferson had 9.
The same number as Osborne.
And
Cook had 7.
Only got 5 of his.
Well, Cousins threw the ball 49 times. He almost never does that.
No. I mean, 351 yards. When was the last time Kirk Cousins saw above 250 yards?
Yeah, it feels like a while, but I bet you he's done it more than we think. But yeah, it's still just kind of like, it's still just one of those like, yeah, all right.
Jefferson even went 1 for 1 with 11 yards. So
Jefferson did not have a good game. He was being bracketed, dude.
Yeah.
Surprised he even caught 5 for 71, to be honest. Every time they showed it was just kind of like, damn, they're really targeting him, and then Thielen just kept getting open. And you were like, well, yeah, you guys can't forget about Thielen.
Nope, you can't. So, all right, next.
Oh yeah, by the way, Cousins threw for over 350 one time last year. Guess which week it was?
the week he played the Bengals?
Week 1 against Detroit. That's funny. That's actually kind of funny.
I'm sick of everybody calling us a run first offense.
Maybe there's something to it.
You like that?
They want to try to prove people wrong week 1, and then they go back to their normal stuff. So yeah,
I can throw the ball, dicks.
You can. You just good luck. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let me break this one down for you real quick. Houston backfield, man. Look, a lot of question marks coming into this one. A lot of people really liked Philip Lindsay, as I was a big advocate of his. I thought he was. Yeah. Look, you're talking about David Johnson, old at this point. Like, at least he runs like one. Mark Ingram, definitely an old man. Looked like total trash last year in the Baltimore heavy run offense that should have given him open space, right? Then you bring in Phil Lindsay, pretty young, did well in Denver against behind a crappy offensive line. So it was all Philip Lindsay, right? So what had happened was Mark Ingram gets 26 carries, Philip Lindsay gets 8, and David Johnson gets 3. What the hell happened? And are you riding Mark Ingram?
Okay, now do some more digging. When was the last time Mark Ingram saw?
Yeah. I'm not doing that digging. I'm not doing that digging. It's gonna take a few years. Anyway,
I mean, it's.
But seriously, like, what are you thinking here with this backfield? Like, are you buying in on Mark Ingram as being a viable player that you want to roster and somebody that you even remotely trust starting or what?
I mean, I did pick him up somewhere.
I did pick him up too,
because I
had a couple hurt players.
Yeah,
you dropped Lindsay. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Yeah. You dropped Lindsay. See, I didn't. I actually have both on the same team. Not a picked up Ingram because I was like, I'm just gonna let this figure itself out because I'm dead. I lost Gus and somebody else in that league too. So I was dead.
I needed so did I, and I was like, great. I don't have anything, so that's probably gonna come back to haunt me. But I mean. Again, you mentioned it. Ingram is coming from the run-happy Baltimore offense, where he was successful up until about last year. The wheels kind of fell off, and he did not really do too much. But maybe that preserved him to ball out in Houston. I don't even think that's a real thing. I don't know why I even just said that. But that's what it was. I mean, he crushed the carries. Tyrod had a good game. Houston had a good game. And that entire division is now making us look all stupid because Houston is the one with the win and not anyone else.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that, though.
Again, it's week 1.
Week 1, guys. Yeah, relax.
Let's not
RELAX.
So we skipped the Denver one here. We kind of already talked about Sutton.
Oh, my bad. I totally did.
But now Jeudy is out on the IR. So we've got KJ Hamler. We've got Tim Patrick, who balled out last year when called upon. And we have Sutton, who's still healthy. What are we doing with this? Who do you like out of these three?
All right, so number 1, I love Sutton. I still loved him coming in. Yeah, he got to get some rust off in week 1, maybe week 2. But I think he will eventually come around while Jeudy is out. Jeudy was balling out, dude. That pissed me off because I started buying into him big time, man. By the way, Mike LaPlante, producer here, just called you out. Week 3 of 2018. Ingram, 25 for 144. Yeah, so a long time ago. Anyway, so I think Sutton will ultimately be the guy to step up, besides Fant. Honestly, I know a lot of people like Hamler, and, he was sort of him and Patrick sort of split the work when Jeudy went out, but I still like Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick, every time there's an injury, just seems to be reliable. He's catching touchdowns. He just knows how to get open and run these routes. So there's just something about him. Like, I really kind of wish he would leave Denver and go to a team who needs like a solid wide receiver too. Just be a guy, right? Does somebody that the quarterback can trust, like have a stud over wide receiver 1, and then Tim Patrick just be the guy over time. Like, I don't know, or just be a number 3, like the slot guy, like something. Tim Patrick needs to get out of Denver where there's not 10 receivers all trying to play for 3 spots that they have a terrible passing offense. Like, go somewhere else. Tim Patrick is great in my opinion.
He is.
So
he's
I like it.
I think he's going to be the one to trust. Hamler, I think, is more of the downfield threat because I think people are just going to key in on Sutton now.
I think Hamler's got the bigger upside, but Patrick's safer, and he's, in my opinion, more proven, man. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Hamler's a talent, man. From Penn State, he was awesome.
Yeah.
And
he's going to be.
Patrick's just, he always seems to get it done
in best ball.
Yeah,
because he's going to have these big weeks. But, Sutton, I really hope that this opens the door for him to get some more of a relationship.
Just get back into it.
Teddy.
He's so good.
You cannot leave this guy out. I mean,
nah.
You just
he got like what? It was like 3 targets. He caught 1. It was bad. Even after Jeudy went out, like they just didn't target him, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like he had a bad injury last year. So
all right, just throw the ball this way. He's fine. But let's dip back in real quick to that Ingram stat and being called out. So week 3,
I wasn't really calling you out. I was just making fun of you.
Season Ingram had 25 carries, but the question was, when was the last time he had 26 or more carries? So nice try, Michael Plant. Of course, I forgive you because I still am here.
Michael Plant, jump in and rip him, dude.
Touche. Touche. I'll give you that one. I'm just glad you forgive me.
So that's a good stat line, though. I like it. 25 for 144 and 2 touchdowns. It's a pretty good day.
All right, so AJ, we're going to rapid fire this last 2 because we are running a little long. So Josh Allen did not look like Josh Allen from last year. In fact, he looked more like Josh Allen from 2019, unfortunately. 30 for 51. There with the efficiency that we saw last season. 270, threw for touch. Ran for 44, so there you go. At least there's that, right? Is it the Pittsburgh defense that gave him fits, or are we even remotely worried that Josh Allen's going to regress back to his old self this season?
I mean, rapid fire wise, I think we already touched on this, that he wasn't going to have the season that he had last year again this season. That was like the pinnacle season for him. So the regression. No, but
are you expecting the regression to like this? Because this is going to be bad.
I don't think it's going to be this bad. No.
I sure hope not.
I own him, I think, in maybe a couple best ball leagues.
I have him in a few places.
None of my main leagues I ended up getting him, I don't believe. So I don't think he's going to be this bad. And the Steelers, again, they were one of those upset teams that kind of came in on the road, and the Bills were coming off of, their playoff appearance and Allen's, crazy good season. I mean,
you know what I've noticed in week 1?
Not terrible. I mean,
no, but the efficiency, it's 30 for 51, but they were down so big, man. You know what I noticed in week 1? Think about how many offensive players didn't play in the preseason for some of these like teams that were, expecting big things, right? Yeah. Buffalo, Green Bay, and look how bad they looked against. And granted, the defenses and a lot of teams didn't play either, but like, I would think that look, not that I've played anywhere close to professional football or anything, but like, I have played in football leagues. Your offense needs to have, in my opinion, more timing work than a defense. A defense can react a little bit faster than an offense, and a quarterback throwing to receivers who are new and an offensive line that's new. When I had new guys playing for me for, leagues and teams that I played on, I needed work with them in game situations. It took a couple games to finally get ready with them. And I'm sure it's the same thing here. Like, even though these guys are pros and are being paid millions of dollars, like, and you saw it with Rodgers and Adams and everybody. Like, these guys have played for years together, but it's been months and they never saw game time together. So, like, maybe that's catching up to some of these guys who didn't play in the preseason, and we're not going to see them really get into full stride until like maybe week 3, week 4, and that's going to be tough for people who pay top dollar for some of these guys. So maybe there's something to that. The last thing here, and we're watching the game. What's your quick take here on the Washington offense so far without Fitz?
I mean, I think it's starting to come around. So I'm glad
they've scored twice.
Scored twice. So they're still winning right now. You got about just under 8 minutes left in the third. They're up by a point.
We're at 5:40, by the way.
Oh,
You're
right.
way behind.
Well, that's ESPN. That's not me. I'm on time. 5:19. There they go. They just updated it.
I was gonna say what?
Thanks for making me look stupid. You sons of bitches.
Well, I'm actually okay. Oh, you're watching the.
I just have the scoreboard.
I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, of all people, I am a huge Fitz fan. I talked him up a lot, so that makes sense that he would be injured. I'm sorry,
AJ Voodoo.
I did not. I never talked down about him. So,
No, yeah, I get you, man.
It's a bad injury. He's 38 years old. So, it's gonna be a rough road coming back, I think. The biggest kick in the sack here is the fact that we talked about his durability. It was more of I'm getting benched because of such and such behind me, or this rookie, or this other player, or whatever, because I happen to throw one more interception than a touchdown in this game. Now he's finally not durable. Right now. He's still been durable throughout his entire career. Now he's got a bad injury.
Oh. Wow.
What?
We just had a
short middle to Galladay.
Just had a Slayton touchdown.
Son of a bitch. Deep pass, 33 to Slayton. Okay, all right.
Leave it to Daniel Jones to not help anybody.
Nah.
Well, you heard that Rex Ryan, of all people, is done. I am done with Daniel Jones.
Wow.
Who is even paying attention to you anymore, Rex? Nobody. You're on a craptastic station that nobody likes anymore because their fantasy site blows and they haven't caught up with the times. Yeah, I'm talking to you, ESPN. Make me look bad. Secondly, when was the last time you were coaching? Do you even know anything about quarterbacks? You're a freaking defensive coach. S&D. Nobody has any kind of worry about who you're done with as a quarterback.
All right. Well, we need to move on, man. But
Fitz,
me personally,
I think you're going to come back stronger than ever, with a bigger beard and more of a chip on your shoulder. But I think this is going to be. I think it'll be okay for Washington. They still have a great defense. They're going to rely on that.
Apparently not if Daniel Jones throwing dimes like that,
if you're
man.
Getting Danny dimes, dropping
little dimes for once. Damn, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know.
All right, man. Let's jump into this injury news and rip through this real quick. So obviously we got the Fitzpatrick news out for 6 to 8 weeks. It's Heineken time, baby. We'll see how much that lasts. I think it's going to be a much more conservative offense, in my opinion. We talked about Mostert being out for the year. Chipped knee. He's getting surgery on it. Again, we don't know. Elijah Mitchell is going to be, I think, the lead back for at least a little while. But we got Hasty, we got Wilson coming back eventually. I think they're gonna activate Sermon now because they have to. Barkley has been, obviously he's playing pretty well, but he's been sort of on the back burner and being worked into things. So just that's going to continue to go forward. Rashad Penny for Seattle is doubtful with a calf. And then we got Josh Jacobs. He hasn't practiced yesterday due to a toe injury toe and ankle injury. So keep an eye out for that one. He did play Monday, but he was struggling to play through that game. So that's something to keep an eye out on. To me, he's more of a desperation running back play in your lineups than if you need him. So
yeah,
want to hit up the rest?
Yeah, receivers, we got OBJ out again. He's probably filming a new commercial for Apple Watches or something stupid. Marquise Hollywood Brown did not practice today because of an ankle issue. Jamison Crowder is off of the COVID list, so look for him to be back in the lineup.
Bad news for Elijah Moore, who got one catch.
Yep,
not good.
So he might get half a catch, sort of. Tyrell Williams still in the concussion protocol. Coach Campbell's saying it doesn't look great. So in coach speak, that is he will probably play. Tight ends, Ingram out again tonight. Shocker. Zach Ertz is hurts with a hamstring and is questionable. And Jonnu Smith was limited in practice due to a hip injury. Defense, we don't have anything. So
fire that Hunter Henry.
Play Detroit's defense this week. If you were remotely thinking about it, I wouldn't even do it in a DFS play, which is our next segment. Timestamp. DraftKings. Smash plays. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to jump into some DFS plays for this week. And start off here with some quarterbacks and some smash plays. And what I mean by smash plays is these are some of your higher priced players at their position. And but they're guys where you're just looking at it, you're just going yep, click, and figure out the rest, right? So I'm starting off with Tom Brady. I'm skipping the top guys. I'm skipping Mahomes. I'm skipping Lamar's. They're just a little too high priced for me in those matchups. And maybe those guys will just they can just go off, and I totally get it. But Brady versus Atlanta at 6,900, which just seemed kind of a value and a smash play at the same time. What? And Justin Herbert, because of the Cowboys defense, is 6,700. It's mind-boggling to me. You're kind of getting a value, and it's just an easy play. And if I can finish this one up, AJ, and you can go off the next set of guys here, you can stack these mofos because they're also values. By the way, Chris Godwin is 66 and Keenan Allen is 7,000, and you're not crushing your salary cap here with these guys. You can go get some high priced guys who I think one of the next ones is not the highest, but he's still higher priced than the rest of these guys. And so I'll give you the next one, man.
That's Papa Chubby. Nick Chubb going against
love this one.
The
Love it.
Houston Texans, surprise team of the season. $7,800. Okay. Not terrible. I mean, running backs, we've seen CMC going for 9+. Cook going for 8.5 to 9+. So why not? If you can get a Nick Chubb at 7,800 and then stack him with those quarterbacks or receivers that we just talked about,
yeah,
your lineup is already looking great because you have a very balanced salary as it is going in to just dump money on whoever and not have to take some $3,000 value, dart throw in your flex spot.
Yeah, and I know, look, Cleveland played well last week. Just remember, all of their touchdowns were rushing touchdowns.
Yep.
Chubb's gonna score again. Lock it down. That's gonna happen again against Houston.
Yeah. The other one we have here is Hopkins versus Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Just talk about how bad their defense was and why Minnesota had to pass a lot. So,
yeah, I mean, you got 8,000 for them. Okay, it's on the higher side, but again, all of these plays right there really are valued. I mean, for who they are and
Hopkins is expensive. I think he might be.
He's not a value, but.
No, he's not a value at all. Neither is Chubb, but like they're. That's why they're the smash plays, dude.
Yeah, they're guys that you're like, okay, fine, I'm doing this. I don't care what the cost is. So the fades we have. Yeah,
all right. So I'll start the fades here, and I'm starting with Calvin Ridley, and we talked about this with the Falcons offense, and look, I'm tentative. Like, look, if I've got Ridley in a redraft league, I'm throwing him in there. I've got him in a dynasty league, I'm throwing him out there. Playing Tampa, I'm worried. I really am. And I know they got past, I know that game was a shootout last week and they got ripped on against Dallas, but Dallas has a great offense. Opening game of the season, everybody was just trying to figure things out. So, I get it. But I'm worried with Ridley against Tampa at the $7,500 mark here. I need to see Matt Ryan not running for his life all game and making plays. So
you've got that front line of Tampa with Sue.
Oh, it's so nasty, dude. They're gonna destroy Matt Ryan this week.
And then the backups, you got Nunez Roches.
It's so bad, dude. It's so nasty.
It's ugly, dude. Like,
yeah.
That line is so much better than the
So
Eagles.
do you want me to give the other quarterback, or do you want to do the quarterback and
I will do the other quarterback.
All right. So let me give another player first. I'm going Austin Eckler against Dallas. Like, I love the matchup. My biggest issue here is I think he's still nurturing that hamstring injury. And like, he wasn't targeted in the passing game last week, and that's where he gets most of his value from. So if he can't get going in that passing game, then you cannot use him at 7,300 on DraftKings. There's no way. You need to get it. You need to see him get used in that passing game first before you spend that kind of money on him, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I'll let you have the next one, man.
And you saw what happened with, Rojo and Fournette in the passing game against Dallas. They just weren't good. So, not saying Eckler is at that level of mediocrity, because he's not.
Well, Rojo fumbled and died and injured, as he should. Ooh, nice kick by Washington. So, right, 2017. Washington staying with it. All right. Anyway, let's give our next couple fades here and let's finish things off.
Obviously, my dude, Jalen Hurts, putting the hurtin' on the ATL, is going to do it again against San Fran. Maybe.
You sure? Because he's on my fade list, by the way.
I know. That's why. Do you think I can't read?
Maybe.
Do I look like I'm illiterate?
Yeah, yes.
Maybe. So, 6,500.
Not a terrible price.
It's not bad, but
I know people. I know
400 more or 200 more and get Herbert or Brady.
Right. That was my point. And I know people are going to go after Hurts because they had a great week one and he's got that rushing upside. And I just go, nah. San Fran ain't going to get run over like they did last week. I just don't see it. That's why I put that in there.
I think that this one is going to be a little bit tougher for Hurts than last week. I agree that he needs to prove it again, against, we're saying a real defense, even though they were not.
Because here's the thing. It was his passing efficiency this past week that was like, whoa. Yeah. Like, where'd that come from? Nobody expected that. He didn't even go off on the legs. Like you would expect, like,
No.
when he scores as many points as he did in fantasy, you expect like 90 to 100 plus yards in rushing. He didn't do it. He didn't need to. Threw for 3 touchdowns. Like, what? Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean,
you go, boy. I'll
good.
take it.
I mean, that's fine. I'm all for him being more.
And I took him in the crab cake league, so I'm all for it, man. Keep doing it. Actually, I want you to run for 103 touchdowns instead. But
All right. And then speaking of running, we got a fade on Joe Mixon here at Chicago.
Oh, I didn't write that as price. My bad, dude.
What's that?
It's high. I didn't write that as price. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get it. But
it's a fade regardless because it's Joe Mixon. It's Chicago. It doesn't matter what the price is. It could be 3,000. No, you're playing with 3,000. Stop. I just don't know if I trust him getting the workload again. Because that game last week was kind of
29. By the way, he had 29 rushes last week. No, that's not gonna happen.
There's too much firepower in that receiving core for him to get that big of a workload.
Oh, he's 7,000. Yeah, no.
Yep.
No.
All right. Yeah. So the value plays here. We already talked about Mitchell
at Chicago too.
Yeah. No. The Bears
off.
going home. Don't like.
There's too many guys below him
Roquan
that I would rather take a chance on.
Be angry. So Elijah Mitchell 5,000. That's a pretty good value.
I'll take it. Even with the unknowns there, San Fran. That's a pretty good value.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice play because Philly has been susceptible to the run. They weren't last week because they didn't need to be, and Atlanta wasn't running the ball because they were too far behind. This game I feel like will be a little bit closer. It's in Philly, so we'll see what happens. But I like Elijah at $5,000.
I like that a lot.
Van Jefferson at 3,500. Okay, yeah, all day long.
I mean, look, these aren't like the thing with these value plays. Like, you're not expecting them to like win you the weeks, but like these are the guys that like when you need, you're gonna need these 3,000 ish players in your lineup at some point if you need to win, because you have to go after these Dalvin Cook and these types of players. You can't go after a bunch of guys that are worth 5 to 6 to 7,000. You're gonna lose. You got to go after the top guys. Go get the studs. You're gonna need a couple punt / value plays. Van Jefferson played phenomenal, and he's going against Indy, who, I mean, yeah, solid defense, but look, he was targeted, man, and Stafford is proving that he's looking his way. So they don't have a running game in LA. So go for it.
No.
I'll finish things up here real quick.
Cam Akers is injured.
Yeah, no kidding. So I got Javonte Williams, and I get it. Like, this is another like sort of higher value play, but 4,400 at Jacksonville. By the way, if you guys didn't catch it, Carlos Hyde, Mark Ingram, Carlos Hyde, wrong team. Mark Ingram ran 26 times against Jacksonville last week.
Not 25.
26.
44 and 2 touchdowns. 26 times.
So, by the way, Javonte Williams and Mel Gordon are splitting the backfield. Mel Gordon is priced, I think, at least 1,000 higher than.
Yeah, I think.
What's he priced? He is at 5,900. By the way, like, I get it. He had a long run and a touchdown, but Javonte Williams actually ran more, had more touches. So, and he's priced 1,500 less against a crappy Jacksonville defense. This team is going to probably just lean on the run, in my opinion. And so Williams could be a massive value here. And I will probably throw him in many of my lineups just for that exact reason. And then Bryan Edwards, I get it's Pittsburgh. I know it's tough, but look, not Oakland, L.A., damn, wrong again. Vegas. Because it's always LV. Yeah, whatever.
LV.
They've been there. They've been all over the place. Yeah.
A-OK? No, wait.
Nope. That's a band. Yeah. So Vegas just proved that they can do some damage against a really good defense in Baltimore. So I think they can do damage again in the air when they have to against Pittsburgh. And yes, Waller's going to get 3,500 targets again.
Fantastic.
Maybe not exaggeration. But Bryan Edwards clearly became the number 2 target for Derek Carr, and he should have. And man, if this was back in like the 1990s and even the early 2000s, Bryan Edwards would have had a game-winning touchdown, and that stadium would have gone absolutely bonkers. But instant replay called him down at like the half-yard line, and then they somehow botched it, and they ended up winning the game. Anyway, long story short, Bryan Edwards is a great play at 3,700 despite a tough matchup. We need some salary savings later at receiver. And then the last one here I've got
KJ Hamler. Going back to the Jacksonville-Denver game. $3,800, dude. Come on, this could be one of his weeks where he just blows up. And for $3,800, I love that value going in as a possible third receiver or maybe a flex play if you're trying to find, somewhere to hide some dollars. You could go big on 2 other receivers. If you take the Hopkins at 8, you get another guy kind of in the middle, and then, dude, you're gonna smash it on the value play of Hamler.
I was gonna, I when I thought about this game, I immediately looked at Tim Patrick. He's actually 46, and I was like, ooh. Look, what's funny? Here's the thing, right? So we talked about, look, there's a lot of the fantasy community is going after KJ Hamler because of the upside and the electric play and things like that, right? Like I get it. Like he's got more upside than Patrick. Patrick is more expensive on DFS, so what does that tell you? Patrick's safer, in my opinion. So, but I get it. And so that's why I threw KJ Hamler here, because I think he's got massive upside. And at 3,800, he's another guy, like a little bit of salary savings here when you need it. And, wide receiver wise, that's where you can save a lot of salary, unless there's like a massive, running back injury late, that we've seen happen near, week in and week out in DFS. And, we saw it last week with like Mitchell and stuff like that. So but it is what it is. So, all right, man, I think that is all we've got for the show. Unless you got anything else to add?
No, once again, check out our sponsorship here with Manscaped. We'll be talking about them for the next couple of weeks here.
Absolutely.
And, just promoting the product, man. It's a great product.
Buzz.
Go out and get it. Lawnmower 4.0 package. Fantasy code again is F6P20 at manscaped.com. Free shipping, 20% off. I mean, there's nothing to lose here except the hair on your balls, and your wife will thank you. So,
yeah. While you guys are at it, just remember, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and good luck this weekend. Hit us up on Twitter. We'll be around again for that for the Sunday Start Shit show, and good luck to you guys. See ya.